Auburn looking to bounce back on the road versus Texas A&M. Have we reached must-win time for Auburn already?
Midweek Rapport brought to you by our friends at the Rage Room. If you're in Opelika, 1510 2nd Ave. If you're in Birmingham, 2616 7th Ave. South, get some rage out at the Rage Room. Unique team building opportunities. And I've mentioned this before. If you've never broken a car windshield with a bat, this is your chance. Head on over to the Rage Room. Let them know that the War Rapport sent you. We appreciate them for sponsoring this segment. Want to thank our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code RAPPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop potentially has something that has you covered. If you've got some traditional ailments and you're looking for some non-traditional remedies, Rogue Shop could have something for you. Again, use code RAPPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. We appreciate them for sponsoring this segment. Guys, sign up as a member. You don't want to miss game day. Texas A&M. Ike went down to Norman, Oklahoma. I didn't get enough details about that trip, but we want to keep him on the road. And if you sign up for a Patreon membership, we can keep him out there. So we appreciate you guys for doing that. We had despite the end of the game, we had a great time with our members on Saturday. Just pregame, halftime, postgame, all you guys. Plus, film reviews. I think we dropped a couple today. So that's there behind the paywall for all our Patreon members. We appreciate you guys for helping us grow there. Also, do us a favor. Podcast. We need your help. Go to your favorite podcast platform. Download. Turn on automatic alerts. Turn on automatic downloads. And drop us a review. This helps us as well, too. Click the little 5 stars and drop us a review. The Auburn Express Uptempo College Loop Just a Sec and the War Rapport Gaming channel. But especially that Auburn Express there, man. We appreciate you guys for leaving your feedback there. It definitely helps us in the algorithm for them to see that not only are you guys listening, but that you're taking the time to leave feedback. So thank you so much in advance for doing that. Check out our merch store if you're ready to celebrate outwardly in your appearance. We got lots of Born to Bug merch there for you guys. Go to thewarreport.com where you can find our merch store and order your bug merch today. You can also check out our written work there at thewarreport.com. Myself, Ike Jones, and senior writer Logan Fowler dropping lots of great written content for you guys. I think that's it. Ike, let's start the show.
All right. Well, we are here live, ready to talk a little Auburn versus Texas A&M. Auburn is back on the road again for a second consecutive week, this time headed to Kyle Field to take on the Aggies. And this game is going to be going down at 2:30 on ESPN. The lines say Texas A&M by just about a touchdown, same as last week. The over-under is at 52.5 right now. And Texas A&M, according to the ESPN FPI, as the Football Power Index, is favored by 68.4%, 68.4% chance of winning. We all know the last meeting was that epic 4 overtime situation at the Plains. Currently, Texas A&M leads the series 7 wins to 8 in favor of the Aggies. Mike G, how are we feeling about this game right now as it stands? Auburn versus Texas A&M. Texas A&M coming off of a bye week, so only 3 games for them so far this season. But this will be Auburn's 5th game. How you feeling about it?
This is the blessing and the curse, right? Coming off of a bye. Maybe a little cold coming off of a bye week. Or if you're Auburn, you're warmed up and you're ready to go headed on the road for the 2nd straight week in conference. I feel good about this game. I think I saw what I needed to see versus Oklahoma. I saw a team that had a lot of fight, that didn't quit, that battled until the last down. They laid a lot out there on the line. It just didn't go their way. Now, we talked about the many reasons it didn't go their way up and down. So it's just time to leave that on Saturday and start looking at what's in front of Auburn here in College Station. But you got to continue to build, Ike, on what you started in Norman. That is Jackson Arnold to Cam Coleman pushing the ball downfield. And, we got some news today about that wide receiver room. Horatio Fields broke his foot in practice today. So potentially, we're assuming Perry Thompson is going to be the next man up there. And he's got an opportunity as a former top 50 overall guy to get in there and show why he maybe should have been starting the whole year. I don't know. Like I said, I know he's got tons of talent. I know he's stuck with Auburn in an offseason where he could hit the portal and probably gotten top dollar from a lot of people. So you hate that for Horatio. All prayers up for him. I hope that he has a speedy recovery. And if you're Perry Thompson, life goes on. You just have to step in and you got to now be a dude here in this passing game. Look, Cam Coleman really, I feel like, announced himself to the world versus Oklahoma and Norman. It just didn't matter. They were holding him. They could not stop him.
Yeah.
And the part of what comes with announcing yourself in that manner is that everybody's going to take you very, very seriously moving forward. So you need guys like Perry Thompson who can step in and potentially show them why you can't just put all your focus on Cam, or we'll burn you on the other side as well too.
Yeah.
Perry's a pretty good 50-50 guy himself. So I think he's stronger than Cam Coleman. He's a big body, able to receiver. He's got good speed. This is a real opportunity here on the road versus Texas A&M. They present a different challenge than Oklahoma did, but I feel like there are some opportunities here, going up against Marcel Reed, where Auburn can certainly outduel Texas A&M offensively. Because defensively, I don't know, man. I've been keeping the beat on Texas A&M fans, and it seems like they're underestimating what this Auburn defense is, even after what we saw in Norman.
Yeah, I don't know if they're underestimating Auburn or feeling very confident about their offense, right? Because they went and got the win versus Notre Dame. And I think that gave them confidence versus a team in Notre Dame who had expectations of having a good defense again this year. They led with defense last year in the run game. Defense in the run game was how Notre Dame won games last season, and Texas A&M was able to move the ball pretty much at will versus that team. The mistakes really is what kept that game close, that Marcel Reed had as far as his communication with the receivers and things of that nature. But they feel very good about their offensive capability, particularly coming off of a season last year where they didn't feel like they had playmakers on the outside. And we got two dynamic playmakers on the outside this time. And Auburn has struggled with keeping talented wide receiver cores in check. Like, let's just call it what it is. The Baylor game, they struggled with that. Now, the question is that you have to ask, was that because the receivers are so talented or the quarterbacks were so talented? And is Marcel Reed up to the task of being what Robertson was, or at moments during the game, what Mateer was? Can he be that guy for Texas A&M consistently enough? We will find out the answer to that, but the numbers say no, right? Like, let's be clear. The numbers say he's not either of those guys, right? He's a 56, 57% completion guy, and those guys are mid 60s and above completion guys. But he's more talented with his legs, so he's going to present a different kind of challenge. But to your point, I think that Texas A&M fans have a level of confidence going into this game, but I think it stems from what they feel about their offense and its ability to go out there and put up points, particularly be explosive in the pass game as they've been so far this season.
Yeah, look, I'm looking at Marcel Reed, and I'm looking at that, 58% completion percentage, and I'm just thinking, man, there's going to be some opportunities here, I think, for Auburn. Going into the Oklahoma game, I felt very strongly that while Oklahoma people were confident in their defense, they the smart ones at least admitted that Auburn is a lot better defensively than they gave them credit for headed into that
Yeah,
game.
I at least appreciated that. Like, okay, yeah, maybe your defense is better than what we thought it was going to be after the game was over with.
Yeah, like it just the material didn't have the day that they thought. They weren't able to run the ball at all. Like, I mean, Auburn held you to 35 yards rushing there, and so there's that. And then you got Texas A&M offensively, and I don't know. I think that Baylor is a really good offense.
Mhm.
I think that Auburn has faced some. They faced something formidable here. Now you talked about that Notre Dame game. They threw the ball down the field 9 times, connected on 2 of them, at a 58% completion percentage. It's very boom or bust. Right, we're going to take a bunch of shots. Hopefully, we hit enough of them to keep us in the game. But I think that might be a recipe for disaster for Texas A&M versus Auburn. I'll give my score prediction later in the show here. But man, I like Auburn in this game. I know that their offensive line presents a little bit tougher of a matchup, maybe for the Auburn defensive line. But you just go out and win. I think that if you're Auburn, you built this roster. Hugh Freeze talks about we need guys who can go win their matchups. Just go win your matchups here. Look, they've got great receivers, sure. Get to Marcel Reed, and you can two birds, one stone.
Yeah, I mean that's for me. When you think about keys to this game, the question for me is, and I heard your segment with Taylor Davis today, where you all talked about the inability of Auburn to get sacks in that last game.
Yeah.
Getting sacks is definitely what you want to do, but I think that Auburn needs to continue to do what they've been doing, which is put pressure, because unlike John Mateer, Marcel Reed has not been a guy when facing blitzes and facing pressure who's been good this season. John Mateer is a guy who
20% versus Notre Dame. He was
yeah.
passing under pressure. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm saying like he has just not been a guy that has done well in those scenarios. So if Auburn can continue to be a team that's playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage defensively, I think you put yourself in a really good position, because you've got the athletes to be able to go run down a guy in the open field. But if he's a guy who's like, all right, well, I'm going to try to play this from the pocket, I don't know that that's going to work versus Auburn this season with Marcel Reed, right? Like, I don't know that Marcel Reed has gotten to be that surgical yet, but they've had an entire week of prep, and looking at the different looks that Auburn's put out there. They saw the Oklahoma film, and maybe they saw some things that they can take advantage of. But honestly, and I did my film review on the Auburn defense, when you turn that Oklahoma film on, you actually see a team that covered really well for the vast majority of that game when they were playing in man coverage against those Oklahoma receivers, and a team that was resetting that line of scrimmage consistently on defense and the defensive line. So I don't know how much confidence you have, even if you feel like your offensive line is better than Texas A&M, that is a good sound strategy, is to say, all right, we're just going to go and see if our athletes can be better than your athletes. I don't know if that works well against this Auburn defense.
Yeah, look, he's got an average pressure rate. If you're Auburn, you got to skew those numbers a little bit here coming up. You got to get after him and put him under more pressure than he's been on average. Now, versus Notre Dame, they did a good job generating pressure on him. And as I mentioned, not a lot of success when he was facing that pressure versus Notre Dame. Look, I think quarterback is advantage Auburn in this game, personally. If we see Saturday's Jackson Arnold, because Texas A&M is not going to be able to stop the run the way Oklahoma did. So bring that element back into the offense. And Jackson Arnold looks super dangerous in this one.
Yeah.
Now, we've already seen Auburn go on the road and quiet a crowd in hostile territory in P4 play. They went to Baylor. They got the win game one. I would argue that's such an impressive feat in game one, when you've got like first game jitters and you're trying to figure some things out, and you got to almost kind of get warmed up. Auburn just came up and mashed on them and ran the ball and controlled the game. And I think you have to do something similar here. So we may not see as many passing plays, but the explosive passing plays are going to be there. If you're Jackson Arnold, you just got to hit them when they're there.
Yeah,
That
and that's the.
can,
I mean, I think that's the worry of Auburn fans right now that I've seen is that, well, is Jackson Arnold the guy to be able to deliver on that? And I think that that had to be an emphasis this week. Is like look at how many points you left out here on the field, Jackson.
yeah,
Like you've got to let's figure out this connection and how to make sure that we're doing this. And also, I think the strategy to use Cam Coleman has to be a little bit more diverse than it was in that last game, because he ran like 4 stutter goes in that game. Now, all of them seemed to work, right? It was a stutter go and it was the fade route that they were using Cam Coleman on. But man, there was only one time where I was like, it didn't work. So, but yeah, that I don't know. Texas A&M. This is what I will say. Texas A&M has better defensive backs than I think Oklahoma does. As far as in coverage on the outside, they can leave those guys on the island and they won't be as confused. So Auburn's going to have a different strategy for how they want to attack those DBs. But the good thing about it is you've got size and speed everywhere, and you should be able to do that, right? Like, all right, great. So if you want to take Cam Coleman away and you feel like you can just bracket cover him, Malcolm Simmons and Eric Singleton Jr. and now Perry Thompson should have a field day getting one-on-one coverage versus the rest of those guys. If you want to zone up, I don't know that you can play zone really well, because honestly, Jackson Arnold has been doing a really good job of assessing zone coverages and finding out where he needs to throw the football into the soft spots of the zone. So really the only way that you play against this Auburn team is commit a bunch of people downhill versus the run / blitz and pray to God you can cover on the outside. And it
yeah.
didn't work a lot of times versus Oklahoma.
I'll say this too. On the other side, CJ Carr took 10 shots of 20 yards or more versus the Texas A&M defense, and he connected on half of them. So there are big plays to be got downfield versus this Texas A&M secondary, and you've got the guys to win.
Yeah.
You just have to take them, and if you're Jackson Arnold, you got to put the ball just anywhere in the area code and where they can get a hand on it and make the play. The 2 that he missed at Cam Coleman, he just threw Cam out of the play. Well, hold on. Let me make sure I say that correctly. The one in the end zone, he threw Cam out. We know now that Cam slowed his route, and if he had run through it, I still think the ball was on an extreme rope, but that was the correct trajectory of that football because it kept the defensive back from being able to get, recover and get over there and make a play.
Right.
So
What's crazy is you can see him adjust those throws in real time, because the first one that he hit from like the end zone that was like a 50-yarder, he underthrew it a little bit. He was like, "Oh well, shoot, I need to get that out there a little bit more." The next one, he tries to throw it out there, and Cam doesn't fully run the route. He's like, "Shoot, I overthrew him this time." Then the last one, you can see he tries to put more air under it, but he puts too much air under it. So it's like he's trying to adjust in real time. But like, this is the thing that like you've got to find that chemistry and connection with these guys of how they're going to run these routes. And hopefully they've worked a lot on that this week, because if he's able to make a couple of those connections again this week, that's got to put fear in literally every defense that you're going to face for the remainder of the year. Of like, how do we stop the connection of Cam Coleman from Jackson Arnold on these deep shots?
Yeah, look, you got to keep them honest, right? You hit a few downfield, you keep them honest, and then all of a sudden they can't crowd the line on you. Look, the answer, if you're Hugh Freeze, you got to add some kind of quick strike option in after what Oklahoma did on that last drive. You've got to have something that gets the ball out of the quarterback's hands fast enough that if your line gets whooped the way they did on that last drive versus Oklahoma, you're giving your receivers a chance to make a play to get you downfield. Now, I just don't know that Texas A&M is going to be able to do that the way Oklahoma did. R. Mason Thomas made his presence felt when he came back after the half. Certainly, I know a lot of Auburn fans very errantly felt like, oh, it's not going to make that much of a difference. That he made a difference. He came in and made a difference. So it's working. I think it's working. You just need to add a few wrinkles that I know are probably already in the playbook for the game plan this week, and have a contingency to let Jackson 1-2 rip on a few of them, Ike, and then continue to build his confidence throwing the ball down the field. Those guys I love that for Cam Coleman. I mean, these guys are busting their butt out there. And I know some games it has to be discouraging to run route after route down the field just for Auburn to run the ball a bunch. So reward those guys, man, when they're open by throwing a catchable ball, and they'll go get it. We talked about that 2014, playing with Ronnie and Cadillac. They didn't get a lot of opportunities, Ike. That on an undefeated team. That was such a good wide receiver core, but they blocked a lot. Yeah. And they made the most of every ball that was thrown at them. When I think it was Ryan Davis broke Courtney Taylor's reception record, Courtney called me and he was like, man, I wasn't catching these little dink and dunks. Like He thought we had to run real routes, and I didn't have a ton of opportunities. So I like this receiver core. I like seeing them rewarded for their patience and for their commitment to blocking and for their commitment to an offense that really was trying to find its stride last year. But you can do two things here at once. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. You can run the football effectively, and you can take good shots in the passing game that give your receivers a chance to not only make plays, but stay engaged in the game. Because if it's close in the fourth quarter, you know what's going to happen, man. Auburn is going to have to pass the ball down the field.
Yeah.
It was interesting. If you think back to that 2013 national title game on that last drive where Trey Mason scored from it was like 40 yards out. Caesar and I were there. We were like, crap, he scored too fast. I was sitting there thinking Nick Marshall's going to have to make a pass. He's going to have to connect on something here down the stretch. I was wrong. Auburn Trey just decided to break it from 40 yards out.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great run, but the way too much time left, and that is evident by the outcome of that game. But
in my dreams, he goes down at the 1 yard line, and Auburn bleeds the clock, or at least costs them a timeout and wins that game. But my point about this is that if this turns into a war in the fourth quarter, which I'm giving myself away here, I'm actually not anticipating. You're going to need to be able to execute an effective 2-minute drill. And if this offensive line hasn't been shown the tape of them getting their asses whooped on that last drive by Oklahoma, I don't know what to say. Do we have news on Connor Lew? I know Hugh Freeze said earlier in the week that he felt like Connor was going to try to go, but I didn't know if we had news on whether he is going to be what percentage he's going to be for the game on Saturday.
I am pulling up the SEC availability report now to see if we have anything on that.
Felt like that was an opportunity for Oklahoma there late in that game when Connor got hurt.
I mean, listen, I love the way that Cale Ellis came in and played. All right, so for Auburn, Horatio Fields, Darrell Robinson out. Questionable is Amaris Williams, Connor Lew, listed as questionable currently.
Okay.
Probable, Malcolm Simmons, Caleb Harris. That's a new name on there. Jeremiah Cobb and Jay Crawford. For Texas A&M, Bryce Anderson, the safety, is out, and questionable is Scooby Williams, their linebacker. Why that's significant is Bryce Anderson being out, he's their starting safety. And so he went down in their last game, and he is not going to make it back. So they're going to be starting a new safety in this game. So that's going to be interesting to see how they communicate in the defensive backfield without their free safety, who's been starting for them the first 3 games. But yeah, so Jeremiah Cobb, Jay Crawford, Caleb Harris, Malcolm Simmons, all probable. Amaris Williams, Connor Lew listed as questionable. Amaris played in the last game, and he was on the injury report, so he clearly is. He's gonna give it a go, but how good is that shoulder? I actually don't know how many snaps he played in the last game. I should, because we published an article about it on our site. PFF report card. Let's go see how many snaps he played. Defensive end. Amaris had only 4 snaps in that game, so didn't play a lot of snaps in it. So we'll see what happens with him. Connor Lew had 67 snaps, so he missed a total of 5 snaps in that game according to the snap count. But again, Kale Ellis played 5 snaps, pretty well, graded out a 60.7. Overall run blocking was 60, which would have, in his 5 snaps, he was the highest graded run blocker, and 75.1, which have made him the 3rd rated pass blocker on the team in those 5 snaps. So a 17-year-old true freshman came in and played admirably for 5 snaps while Connor Lew had to get his life right. So if he's got to do it again, I ain't mad at
it. Yeah. Look, again, you got to build your roster for this, for injuries. If you're Auburn, you're showing off. Your depth may be a little here. I think you had to get one of the first 3. I said it since the beginning of the season, well before the beginning of the season. This is by day starts to feel a little bit more do or die-ish for Auburn. I think you've got to get this game. You've got to go win this one. You've got aspirations of winning 9 games. This is an important step in that direction. But back-to-back losses just looks terrible. And it's not the way you want to go. You got the road win versus Baylor. Now go get a road win in the SEC. Oklahoma would have been a signature win for Hugh Freeze, certainly. But I think they have what it takes to get it done. Oklahoma represented a very unique challenge for Auburn, whereas their defense was good last year. However, the offensive improvements that they made, it was, man, I thought those were 2 really evenly matched teams. I'm not sure A&M and Auburn are as evenly matched, though. That makes it, again, I'm bullish on Auburn in this game for a reason. And if you say, oh, you're bullish no. I initially wanted to call that game for Oklahoma last Monday. 21-17 is what I thought the score would be.
I don't want to get back into it, but you called it the correct way when you changed your mind. But you can't factor in, the other things that happened in that game to make it go in the opposite direction.
They got better on offense, but I didn't know they got better at cheating too. So
yeah, again, like I don't want to have that conversation again for the Oklahoma fans who continue to linger in our comment section saying a bunch of random stuff, right? Like, for a team that won a game and feels like we should get over it, they sure don't know how to move on.
Oh man! You know what? The internet is not letting them rest.
Well, because of how they won. When the SEC comes out and says our bad, we screwed that up, then there's a reason why the internet won't let you rest. But their continued defense of it is kind of ridiculous. And for so many reasons, it is. The intent of it is where I have the issue most. It's like you knew you were doing something you probably should not have, and then you hoped you got away with it and did. And then you're like, well, the officials missed calls. No, it ain't the same, bro. So just stop. Anyway, I don't want to talk about them no more. I've had enough of saying the name of that college because of the fans that will not just get over it and move on. But we will move on and talk more Texas A&M on the other side of this break, because we need to continue to give you guys thoughts on this game. You're watching the midweek report right here. If you haven't liked the video already, and I see right now there's only 29 of you who have done that, you need to make sure that you go ahead and do that during this break. Yes. Share the content with somebody out there. Make sure some other people get involved with this conversation. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, now's a great time to do that. Or maybe you want to get a membership, Green Name Gang, all those things. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors.
This edition of the War Report is brought to you by our generous sponsors. Golden's Cast Iron. Whether you work out, grill out, or chill out, you deserve the best life possible, and Golden's Cast Iron is here to provide the tools to help you do it. Check them out at goldenscastiron.com.
The Rage Room. The Rage Room is a place where anger and stress find their ultimate release. Set up a session today at one of the 2 great locations in Opelika or Birmingham by visiting opelikaRageRoom.com or BirminghamRageRoom.com.
Many firms won't even talk to you unless you have a certain amount of money to invest. Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates takes a different approach. There's no minimum account size because they believe disciplined investment management should be accessible to everyone, anyone ready to make take their portfolio seriously. Their independent fee-only model ensures your money is managed with your best interests in mind, nothing else. So whether you're just starting to invest or already managing significant assets, they'll meet you where you are. Call AIMA at 912-777-4128 or visit AINC.com today. The War Rapport has been compensated by Abel's Iannone Moore and Associates for this endorsement. AIMA is a registered investment advisor. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. The information in this advertisement is for informational purposes only and should not be considered personalized investment advice. All investing involves risk, including potential loss of principal, and past performance is not indicative of future results. Want to thank our friends at Sky Tobacco and Vape. Need a smoke shop that's always close by? Sky Tobacco and Vape has you covered all over Columbus and even across the bridge in Phoenix City. Whether you're cruising down Airport Thruway, rolling along Victory Drive, or making a pit stop on the 280 bypass, they've got you covered from vapes to tobacco and everything in between. Sky Tobacco and Vape is your one-stop shop for good vibes and great deals. Swing through today. Chances are they're already on your way. Want to thank our friends at setsforsociety.ai. The road to knowing self starts at Sets for Society. They have custom personality assessments that let you know a little bit more about how you think, how those around you think, and how you guys can best think together to accomplish like goals. So whether you just want to be a better teammate, coworker, or partner, or if you got a big team project coming up and you guys want to fine-tune your teamwork skills, Sets for Society can help you with that. Again, setsforsociety.ai to get your custom personality assessment started today. Want to thank our friends at the Vibe Vault. Get fresh for the weekend with the Vibe Vault. You can find them at 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E in Phoenix City, Alabama. Not just barbers, lifestyle consultants, the Vibe Vault. Do us a favor, join as a patron. $5.99 a month will get you there. We appreciate all our patron members for helping us stay on the road this football season. Ike has been doing the Lord's work between the two of us. He went to Waco. He went to Norman. He's going to go a lot of other places for you guys before the end of the season. Is Kentucky away this year?
I'm headed to College Station this week.
He's headed to College Station. What road games we got left this year?
Arkansas, Vandy.
Arkansas and Vandy.
Yep.
That's it? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 5. So, yep.
All right. Well, listen, I know Vandy is a pretty easy trip for you. Arkansas, Godspeed, my brother. Either way, we want to keep him on the road. So these are like micro sponsorships. So if you want to get involved with the War Rapport for a nominal fee, $5.99 a month is it. We appreciate our patrons showing y'all lots of love on game day as well, too. Check us out on podcasts, subscribe, turn on alerts, download, and I have an additional ask on pod. Leave us a review. Hit 5 stars. Drop a couple words. Say War Eagle. And this helps us a ton. I cannot stress this enough. As a matter of fact, we might start incentivizing you guys for dropping reviews. So do me a favor. Drop a review on the podcast today. And drop a War Eagle in there. But also type WDE so that we know that you heard this and you responded. And Ike and I are going to brainstorm something we can do for you guys for helping us out over there. Like, we need that feedback, guys. It helps us so much. And more than you know, if you cannot sign up for a patron membership, if you can't buy something from a sponsor, listen, like, and review. Those are 2 really easy things that only take a couple minutes of your time. So appreciate you guys for doing that.
Yes, indeed. Let's get in here and look at these comments that are in here. We'll start with our super chats. Appreciate everybody who's dropped a super chat so far. Stephen Neely, now or never for Perry Thompson.
I'm telling you, this is his time. I am
Right.
so
Like there's
excited for Perry.
literally not an excuse out there that makes sense anymore for Perry Thompson. Like if he's not able to play and get significant snaps and contribute, it's because he's just not. I don't know that he'll ever get there for this coaching staff, or because who's in front of him. There's not been another guy that's been playing on the outside that's gotten snaps. It's been Horatio Fields, and then Perry Thompson's been the next guy off of the bench there. In this last game, again, let's just take a look at
Yeah, I
wide
was gonna
receiver
say,
snaps. He had 6 snaps in this last game.
he had 6.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, he's next dude up.
So you're hoping, man, Cam had 67 snaps in this game. There was nobody else that was above 40.
Yeah, yeah. You can't take him off the field. Yeah, I mean, taking him off the field, it changes the way they defend you. He's so dangerous, and every team has paid so much respect to the dangerousness of this wide receiver room. If you're Perry, I ain't no disrespect to Horatio, but like I'm it's not ability, I think, that's kept Perry Thompson from starting. He is just a guy you can go out there and throw the football to, and he's going to make. I have very confident he's going to make plays on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is his time to go out there and prove that he is a guy who can contribute consistently. And to your point, that maybe they should have put some more trust in him earlier. And that's no disrespect to Horatio Fields, because I think he's played well, but where he needs to pick up the things is in the route running. If he's running the right routes consistently, or if they just need to get him more opportunities for easy stuff and just let his athleticism take over, and hopefully that will be the case. Darius Lee, Aaron Murray film review was good insight. Jackson is a baller. Those sacks were part play call, some Jackson Arnold, some O-line. Coaches got to call better play on situational downs. Auburn will be fine. Auburn over A&M. Appreciate that very much.
That's exactly what Hugh Freeze said too. He said 5 of those were on Jackson. The other 5, he was like, I just don't, I don't know that you do much about those sacks. They're just good, but yeah, that tracks. And Aaron Murray, if you haven't seen his QB film reviews, they're really, really good. I highly recommend that.
There's this other guy that does film reviews that's pretty good. His name's Ike Jones. And if you're Green Name Gang, he does film reviews over there. He didn't play collegiate football quarterback, so it's probably not going to be as detailed, but it will be really good, and it will show you every play from the game. So check that guy out too. He's pretty good at doing it. Dwayne jumps in and says, after watch the film, hey, look at that. Somebody watching the film with me. I don't feel as bad a few plays away, even after everything we had to overcome. Got to make them this week. Absolutely. Listen, if Auburn can not eliminate, but at least like cut in half the self-inflicted stuff, like don't field a punt inside your own 5. Don't have a bad snap on a punt and then your punter thinks that he's Barry Sanders all of a sudden. Don't overthrow one of the best wide receivers in collegiate football multiple times, and figure out your blocking assignments, right? Like if you can take half of those away, then you win that last game in spite of all the other stuff that was stacked against you in that game. So Auburn's just got to figure out how to, not have 2 plays in a row where your different offensive linemen false start when you're already back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just little stuff, but you cut half of that stuff down, you walk out of Norman with a win. You're going to need to up that effort versus a talented Texas A&M team for sure. JJ Brand with the super chat. RIP to Rudy Johnson. Loved that dude. For those that don't know, Rudy Johnson did pass recently. And so, yes, definitely want to give condolences to his friends and family and all of the Auburn family that were connected with him. Never a good thing, because, again, just definitely a gone too soon type of situation with Rudy Johnson. He was still a relatively young guy.
Yeah.
Exclusive TV, time for Perry, Sam, and Bryce to step up for Fields. I mean, I don't know that Bryce is going to get, unless, again, Perry Thompson's not doing well on the outside. That I don't know how that means more snaps for Bryce. The only way that will be is if they decide, okay, we're just going to bump Eric Singleton out and play him a little bit more. on the outside, and then that means more snaps at the slot for guys like Malcolm, and then you slide Bryce in there for those additional snaps. But Sam Turner may have some opportunities because you're not going to give all of those snaps to Perry Thompson. So you'll need to get somebody else on the outside. So there should be some more opportunities for guys, and those are probably the next three guys off of the bench there with Horatio Fields going down. War Dank Eagle says, what's your running back depth chart this week? I don't think it changes. I think it's going to be like the reason why again, let's look at this availability report. I don't think Damari's name was on that unless I'm mistaken. So Damari should be a full go now. Last week he was a limited go because he wasn't taking contact during the week. Jeremiah Cobb got those additional snaps, additional reps, and Jeremiah Cobb has played phenomenally, right? Like, so I think you need to continue to have Jeremiah Cobb in there. But Damari Alston is still RB1 on this team. And Jeremiah Cobb is still like 1A, 1B, right? Like, it's not like Cobb is a downgrade or an upgrade. I think they're both good at different things. So I don't think the depth chart changes much, particularly, again, because I think Damari is pretty clearly a better blocker. Now, Jeremiah Cobb has done better in the blocking scenarios, but he is clearly the better pass blocker of the two. So you have to have him in, especially if you're going to want to take those shots that they're taking out there. And I don't know. And with Cobb having the issues he's having with the hip pointer, and he was already having the hand issues, he's going to be more limited physically. So you're going to have Damari as running back one there. But I think if Cobb plays, he's still RB2 for you.
Makes you wonder if they're going to call more QB runs for Jackson Arnold.
I think they're going to call that regardless this week. I don't think that I think Texas A&M will try to corral Jackson Arnold. I don't know that they have the same kind of speed as a team that Oklahoma has in their front seven, which means they're going to have to commit a safety to the box to try to deal with Jackson Arnold, which is, again, kind of a dangerous proposition when you have such dynamic outside receivers like Auburn does. So if you're going to spy with a safety, that means you're basically putting Jackson Arnold one-on-one with a guy that's got to come from 10 yards away. And I don't know how successful you can be consistently doing that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Grab one from James Barnett here, who says, yes, if we want to win 10 games and reach the college football playoff, answering the question, is this a must-win game for Auburn? And I'll ask that question again to you, Mike G. And you talked about this a little bit, and you've been consistent in saying this, and we've talked about this all off season, that you got to get one of these first three. But do you feel like this needs to be the one, so you don't put the need to be on a home game versus Georgia, who you have not beat in a long time?
Yeah, I do. I always thought it should be one of the first two of these, either Oklahoma or Texas A&M. I felt pretty confident about Oklahoma. I don't feel like that confidence was misplaced based on how they went out and played. But now I do think that you got to get Texas A&M. Got to win this game. You have goals beyond make a bowl game this season, and you cannot even flirt with starting 0-3 in SEC play. You just can't. It takes all the air out of, like beating Baylor to start your season, and you've got all this hype. Auburn climbs into the top 25, and then you lose your first two SEC games. No. If you want to try to climb into that category of the conference elite, you can't. You can't drop back-to-back games, Ike. You have to bounce back. How many times has Georgia lost 2 games in a row over the last 5 years? How many times have you seen Alabama lose 2 games in a row? How many times have you seen Texas lose 2 games in a row over the last couple of years since they joined the SEC? They're not doing it. You have to get this game. You do. And I think the bar has been raised for this season. Expectations have changed. Once we saw what they were capable of defensively versus Baylor, And then once we saw what they could do on the ground in the run game versus another P4 team in their house, I think expectations changed.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you're thinking this team might be good enough to compete in every game they play in this year. But it's no longer good enough to just compete. You've got to win. The first 2 years under of Hugh Freeze's tenure are haunting you at this point. You've got to start to change narratives, or all that negative recruiting that we've reported is going on. It sticks.
Yeah.
Go out and get this game, man. Your roster is built for this. You have your quarterback. For all we know, he's healthy. You lost Horatio Fields, but I don't know, man. I just don't think that's a thing that should hold this team back at this point.
No. Yeah, I mean, what Horatio Fields did for you is gave you what seemed to be a solid kind of third down option for Jackson Arnold that he trusted. The question is, can he have that level of trust in Perry Thompson to run those routes where you just got to go box a guy out and be a pass catcher and strong at the catch point? I think Perry Thompson can be that guy. He can be a tough route runner. He can be a tough catch point guy.
Yeah,
He's got the body to do it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, yes, you lose Horatio Fields. He was third on the team with 15 targets. He had 12 receptions on 15 targets. Perry Thompson has only had 3 targets, and he caught 2 balls off those 3 targets. You've just got to step in if you're Perry and just keep it moving. So, yeah, I do think this is a must-win for Auburn, but they're very, very capable of winning it. It'll go down as an upset, but I don't know, man. I think Auburn's the better team here. I don't care what the rankings say. The rankings just reflect where everybody thought they were before the season.
I'm high on
started.
Texas A&M though. I have been since the preseason. I think that they are a well-rounded team. I think that they've got something in every group that allows them to be good. What I've been disappointed in, honestly, when I look at the tape in Texas A&M, is their defense really has not been as dominant as I thought that they were going to be this year. They've lost some stuff up front. They had more dynamic, I think, pass rushers last year that allowed them to play less guys in the box and just go after quarterbacks in that way. And they just don't have to. They don't seem to me, and this is only looking really at the Notre Dame film, right? Because I don't know how much you get from watching them play UTSA, right? So when I look at the Notre Dame field, they don't seem to have the same kind of team speed on defense that a team specifically like Oklahoma does. Like if you go watch that tape from Oklahoma and see those defensive tackles retrace and get down the line versus some pulling guards, or while Jackson Arnold's trying to escape and how they explode, I'm just like, yo, these guys are they're kind of freaky athletes up here for Oklahoma. I don't see that same thing for Texas A&M, but again, that doesn't mean that they're not good, right? And so somebody was in comments like, why don't they do have great athletes. I'm comparing them to what I see on the tape for Oklahoma in that front seven, and I think that they've got more team speed. But where Oklahoma doesn't have it is they don't have the same defensive backs. I think Texas A&M's defensive backfield, I think, is more talented, and they have the better ability to cover one-on-one. But the communication hasn't been there, and it hasn't been as good. And I question how good it's going to be in a game where you're missing your starting safety. Like, how well are they going to be able to communicate on that back? And maybe the new guy's just as good. I don't know. Right. So we'll see. But he hasn't played very much in that position, and so they're going to have to figure it out. And they're going to have to figure it out on the fly.
This is going to sound dangerously arrogant, but you've got so much talent in your wide receiver room. I don't think it should matter how good any team is or isn't in their defensive backfield.
Well,
you've got top 5 overall player in Cam Coleman. He should be able to go win. Who's going to guard Eric Singleton? Who's going to guard Malcolm Simmons? Perry should be able to go out and win. And like I said, I mean, if the threat of those guys, as long as they have to respect it, your team should be good enough to be able to lean on them in the run. If that's what's there, if that's what they're giving you.
Yeah. So here's why it matters to me. If you cover better, not that you can cut them off completely. If you can cover better, you can commit more guys to the run, which will mean you can also blitz more. And so now you have to, it's a question of, can they pick up the blitz well enough? Which, again, this sounds crazy when you go and see how many times Jackson Arnold got hit in that game. Auburn actually pass blocked fairly well the vast majority of that game. They picked up the blitz as well. They did a good job versus the stunts. Again, we heard from the coach. We've heard from Aaron Murray, right? Some of those sacks were not because Auburn couldn't block them up front. It's because the quarterback's holding the ball too long, right? And so Auburn actually did fairly well up front when they were going max protect. The deep shot that they hit to Cam Coleman, that first one where Jackson Arnold standing in the end zone and gets it out to the 50-yard line, that was a one-person route. Nobody else ran a route on that play, and he was still open.
Yeah.
He's the only person that ran a route, and he outran 4 DBs downfield for a 40-something yard play. I'm just like, yo, like, the offensive line played well, man. And if they can do that again versus a team again in Texas A&M that I don't think is as good up front as Oklahoma, it's going to be a tough day, man. It's going to be a tough day at the office.
Just win your matchups. If you're these wide receivers, just go out and win your matchups. And it is that simple for Auburn offensively. You have talent. You've got all the talent that you wanted. And now there should be few teams equipped like Oklahoma to be able to stop you from doing the things that you want to do offensively.
Right.
The game plan can certainly stop you. A bad play call could stop you. But like we saw versus Oklahoma, there was no DB that was going to stop Cam Coleman from getting where he wanted to get. All they could do was hold and interfere and hope that the refs didn't call it. I foresee
they didn't a lot.
The same thing happened versus Texas A&M. I don't care how good they are. Cam Coleman's better than you. You have a guy that can guard him. You can have a guy that can try a little better, maybe. If the ball isn't catchable, that'll stop him. Maybe they try to get to Jackson Arnold, in which case I've said it loud. I'd like to see some version of this offense where Jackson Arnold gets rid of the ball before the rush has a chance to get to him.
Yeah, and I think those opportunities were there for Jackson Arnold in this last game. He just has to take those chances or those things. After he almost threw that interception on that first slant, and then he got the second slant early in the second half knocked down, I think he got away from some of that stuff as far as what he was willing to go to. And let's be clear, the reason why a lot of that stuff was working with Cam Coleman is because Oklahoma was betting their pass rush was going to get there before Cam Coleman could get past the DB, and they were sitting on anything that was an underneath route, trying to jump those routes in anticipation that they were going to be bringing the house, and they wanted to get the ball out of Jackson Arnold's hands quickly. They were hoping you would play quick games so they could get downhill versus that stuff. So they were taking some of that stuff away, but that's where I think Auburn's got to be a little bit more. The thing that I wanted Auburn to do more was the outside run stuff. Because I think when you have DBs that are playing cushion and sitting on the underneath pass game, that's when you take advantage of the cushion that they give and run the wide stuff to the side that DB is playing a 7-8 yard cushion and get your wide receivers out there blocking out in front. That's why the Malcolm Simmons touchdown worked, is because they're so scared of the quick pass game or the fade route that you're going to throw. Those DBs are waiting for that, and you're running right into that stuff. That's why it works for Damari Alston to run this off tackle play up the left side where they pull the guard around, because they have so much cushion. You run a 5-yard route and a DB is playing in backpedal and he's already 7 yards off. That means he's 13 yards off the line of scrimmage before he can react up. And Damari is already off the left end by that time. So I wanted to see them do a little bit more of that stuff to get them off balance. And hopefully they will do more of that if Texas A&M is going to try to do the same thing.
Agreed.
Dwayne says, I argue that fumble return was game-changing. It absolutely was. No, there's no debate. If you start the game with a 7 on the board from your defense, it changes the trajectory of that game for sure. And then Oklahoma goes down and kicks a field goal after that gets overruled. It was game-changing for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Rhino Ranchero says, hope we can clean up the special teams this weekend, and really hopefully Perry has a great game. Could have some great catches with Cam getting doubled. Yeah, I mean, listen, if teams want to double Cam Coleman, I just think good luck, man. I mean, like, do you really want to solo Eric Singleton? Is that really what your plan is?
Yeah.
We're gonna go one-on-one versus Eric Singleton. Do you really want to solo cover Malcolm Simmons? And this is something that you've been very effusive in praise. Malcolm Simmons with the ball in his hands in the open field is electric. When you get Malcolm Simmons out in space, he's electric. Auburn just needs to do it more often. Get the ball into his hands in space and let him just go be a dude.
Yeah. Malcolm is, again, more opportunities for the wide receivers. I just want to see it. I want to see them get more opportunities to work. He hit a spin move in that Oklahoma game on the lower sideline that was just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah,
Those
I mean,
guys
but that's what he does, man. When you in space, bro, like let him go be that guy.
Yeah, you got it. You've got ball placement, right? Putting the ball in the correct position for guys like Malcolm to be able to go make plays for you is the large part of it. And so I'm impressed so far this season with Jackson Arnold. I wasn't that down about the throws that he missed. I will be down about it if he misses them again this week.
Yeah, no, yeah. If it becomes a trend, then you got to say to your. And here's the thing: I'd rather he do what he did on that first one and underthrow him a bit and let Cam go adjust to it,
Yes,
than him
100%.
overthrow it.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm fine with you throwing a DB back into the play, and if you get 40 yards out of it, that's fine with me. And by the way, oh yes, Cam Coleman was getting held on that play too. He just happened to still make the catch.
For sure.
But listen, man, I'll take the chunk plays that could have been touchdowns over the because if he underthrows that ball to Cam Coleman on that touchdown, Cam still scores, right? So like, yeah, I'll take that any day of the week over you overshooting it. So hopefully he can just take a little something off of it and let Cam go be an athlete in the air. Stephen Neely says A&M allows 11.14 yards per completion and 211.7 yards per game, slightly above Auburn's averages of 10.44 yards per completion and 185.2 yards per game. Again, this is to me, they have better athletes at better guys who can cover better at DB. They just don't communicate well on the back end. So Auburn has to give them some stuff to look at. And they were so worried about the run game versus Notre Dame that I think they overcommitted to it, and it allowed for some explosives. I think, and I wonder if they're going to adjust the other way and say, okay, we need to play this a little bit more straight up, and Auburn's going to then be able to have the advantages running the football. I think that could happen. All right. All right. So we're at the final stretch here. Mike G, you've been teasing it a few times. I know you talked about it a little bit with Taylor. How are you feeling about what the outcome of this game may potentially be, Auburn versus Texas A&M?
They've got to get it. I think they go out and do it. I think they look impressive, fairly impressive doing it. So another statement game for Auburn. Baylor was a statement game. We're here. You have to play really good football if you want to beat us. And you may even need the refs to help if you want to beat us. I saw what I expected, that sort of game from Oklahoma. They were one of the few teams in this league defensively equipped to do what they did to Auburn, especially in the second half with their D-line. I don't think Texas A&M can do that. I like Auburn to win this game 33-17. I think win it by a couple scores. I respect the Texas A&M. I think they have a very good football team. But I love this roster for Auburn. And I think Hugh Freeze is starting to figure some things out as well, too. So the expectation was not that Auburn would go undefeated this season. I think they would go undefeated.
Right.
I thought they would compete in every game because I think they did that last year. And Oklahoma, while they won it, they didn't come close to running away with it on the scoreboard or in yards. Now, there's reports that John Mateer is going to be out for the next month.
Yeah, he apparently broke his hand at some point in time early in that Auburn game. Listen, I don't know what type of doctors they have on these other teams that allow guys to have injuries that would keep them out for multiple weeks that were sustained during the Auburn game, but allowed them to finish the game with no signs that thing happened. But this is 2 years in a row a quarterback got hurt enough where after the game he ain't playing no more for a couple of weeks, but finished the Auburn game with no issues. Like they got some voodoo folks over there at these medical teams that allow them to get through the games.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think Auburn goes out and shows why they will help shape what this playoff picture looks like. Not necessarily by making the playoffs, but by beating some teams that nobody thought they were going to beat. Now, I'm not sure. I mean, they beat A&M last year, right? Like, it was 4 OTs. It was probably one of the more exciting games of the season. I was down there for it, running from end zone to end zone, about to pass out. I can tell you, I don't expect that type of game this year. Both teams are improved, but I think Auburn has improved more. So, look, go out, win this game, get to Marcel Reed, do to them what Oklahoma did to you defensively. Win your matchups, hit your big plays, you walk away with this multi-score win. I got to believe that the league is going to have their refs on their best behavior for this one after what happened last week. So hopefully they're paying attention. It was overall, it was such a sloppy game versus Oklahoma. You know, one of the missed PIs, the ref was just running, trying to get out of the way of the play. It was so goofy looking. Some of the mistakes, it was a goofy performance by that officiating squad. I don't think those guys should be together for the rest of the season. So I don't expect any major referee blunders in this one. And if you're Auburn, you have to play well enough for those things not to factor into this one. Oklahoma was uniquely equipped to match up with Auburn in a way that would give Auburn a bunch of troubles. I don't think that Texas A&M is. And again, I understand everything you're saying about their DBs and, you know, their offensive line. If you're Auburn, just go out, and I expect them to go out and win. It's that simple. No big over-the-top speech this week. Just go out and win your matchups and bring home the dub and get on with your season, and then take a week off to prepare for Georgia. But I don't want to talk about a 3-2 Auburn team headed into Georgia. Like that just, I mean, that's not where you want to be in year 3. Now, we saw teams like Baylor drop a bunch of games early and come back and win down the stretch. This isn't the Big 12.
Yeah, and you're not going to get a bunch of Big 12 teams to go line up against, correct?
Yeah, I mean, look, even the cupcakes this year. Look at the league this year, man. Like some of the teams that we thought would finish in the bottom 12 of the conference, bottom 4 of the conference, look fairly formidable. Look at the league.
Yeah,
this is tough. You know, we do our power rankings every week. We still have to drop that segment, but I'm just for illustration purposes, I want to pull this up here. Look at this. Look who's at the bottom. South Carolina started the year way up there. Florida started ranked. Mississippi State has taken down defending Big 12 champ ASU already. Alabama at 10? Come on, man. This league's tough. You can't give away too many and expect to come out on top. You know, that inevitability that is Georgia, I want to feel that at Auburn. I want to feel that on the Plains.
Yeah.
I thought Georgia was cooked versus Tennessee. And recruiting won. All them 5 stars, they don't ever believe they're going to lose a game at any point. They needed a little help from Tennessee, but hey, if you don't have a kicker that can make a kick, that's part of it too.
And we yet to be determined whether Auburn has one of those from outside of 40
they had a chance
yards.
to win that in regulation. They blew it, and Georgia came back and took the only window that was afforded to them and won that game. I know you did the film review. I watched Texas A&M Notre Dame live. I mean, it took everything to get that dub. It was a crazy sequence of plays that started with a TD, and then there was a touchdown return, a kickoff return for a touchdown.
They got called back.
Yeah, they got called back, and then they ended up scoring on some crazy plays after that. It was a wild sequence before they came out with the win versus Notre Dame. I don't know, man. Notre Dame's a good team, I guess. But they were 0-2 and still ranked. If you're Auburn, I think Auburn's a better team than Notre Dame right now. I do. I believe Auburn is better than a lot of the people left on their schedules. They just have to go out and play like it. So I'm not expecting much drama this week. I think Auburn looks good. In this one, Auburn 33, Texas A&M 17. Yeah, I said 17. I don't know. My so far for the P4 games, I've been dead on. And the range that these games would be in. A lot of you came through. A lot of you in the comments, Mike, gee, I can't believe you think Auburn's going to score 38 in game 1. They scored 38. I think they'll be in the 30s in this one, but this defense, I expect them to continue to get better as the season goes on. And I think they showed that at Texas A&M. Come out, play nasty. They are so deep on defense. Tell the truth, chat. Y'all have been watching. You've heard a name or two called that you have heard nobody talk about this offseason on defense for Auburn.
Yeah, I just wish a couple of the names that I did talk about were flashing a little bit more here.
Yeah, man, I would like to see a little bit more from like Keldrick and those guys, but I think Auburn is so well-rounded defensively. They were last year. I get why Durkin got paid all the money he got paid. They seem to be getting better at every game that goes on. They coughed them up, man. They made the play. The refs took it from them. I can't stress that enough. They made the play, and it was stolen from them. Don't let the refs steal your moment this Saturday. Go out to College Station, make the play again, return it for a touchdown, however you got to get there. Get off the field on third downs. Give Jackson Arnold and those guys more opportunities to show what they've got. If Auburn can do that, and they've been doing that, so if they can continue to do that, I think they come out with the win.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that this is a game that Auburn absolutely can win. If Auburn is going to win it, I'm looking at I'm going to give Texas A&M more points. I'm going to say like a 31-24, 28 type of score. Right. I don't know if I want to give it 28, but 31-24 is probably about the range that I'm looking at. But Auburn's going to have to score in this game because I believe Texas A&M's offense is good. The one thing I'm looking at that I had not considered prior to maybe today looking at this is Texas A&M has not won time of possession in games. So if Auburn can generate some stuff on the run versus Texas A&M, who should be kind of run heavy in their defensive looks, it's going to be a very long game. So Auburn needs to get out early and then make Texas A&M adjust to play that pass more and then just run it down their throats. They have not seen Jackson Arnold type QB play, meaning a guy who can use his legs, and he needs to be able to utilize it a lot in this game.
All right.
All right. Well, that is all that I have. Let's get out of here. Tell the people ways in which they can support the work of the War Rapport.
You guys already know the deal. Sign up as a patron member. Your support helps keep the work that we're doing here going. Ike is on the road on his way to College Station for you guys. So help keep him housed and well fed on the way by signing up for $5.99 a month. We appreciate you guys for doing that. And if you feel like it, go ahead and hit that gifted membership button. Help somebody else join their Green Name Gang on Saturdays. We're having a ton of fun. Sign up on podcast, subscribe, download, review, leave us a star and a comment. War Eagle and WDE in the comments of that review, so we know that you guys saw this. We need your help, man. We just, it's the feedback is so important that we get it from you guys. I know there are a ton of you that love what we do. I appreciate that because I see you guys out in the wild and you come up to me. We need you to just put that in writing so that everybody else knows and the algorithm knows as well too. So I appreciate everybody for subscribing to us on podcasts as well as our network podcasts as well too. Show them all some love. Want to thank our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORTER to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. And our title sponsor, the Rage Room. You can find them at the addresses you see here. So whether you're in Opelika or Birmingham, if you're looking for a unique night out on the town, something fun to do, go break some stuff at the Rage Room. Wine bottles, bats, chainsaws. No, they ain't got no chainsaws, but you know, they got stuff for you to break there. It's a whole lot of fun. I highly recommend it for a unique date night again, or a team building activity. We appreciate them for sponsoring this segment.
And if you are one of those folks out there who happens to not know what you should be doing, you should be sharing this content with somebody out there, making sure we get some more folks over in this direction. If you haven't liked the video and subscribed to the channel, do those things. It's absolutely free to do that. You can also follow us on social media. We're at the War Rapport on X and Instagram. TW Rapport is the TikTok. We're back at you guys with more great Auburn Express content later on this week, as well as game day content. Green Name Gang, y'all know we're locking in with that. We also have that film review stuff that's out there for the Green Name Gang. And I'll try to get you guys a little Texas A&M preview if I can get some time tomorrow evening. So be on the lookout for that as well. But that's it, man. We're out of here. Until the next time. And as always, War Eagle. Peace.
War Eagle.